Hey everybody, it's Paula Kiger from Big Green Pen, and I'm here to talk to you about yesterday's blog, which was about Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. Just a housekeeping issue. I'm trying to figure out whether I should hold the camera horizontal or vertical when I do Facebook Live. So if I'm sideways this whole time, I guess I'll be answering my own question. But hopefully the information will be the most important thing. I decided to write about Migraine and Headache Awareness Month when my friend Barbara posted 30 things about living with migraine. She has been dealing with migraines for quite some time now, and it is not an understatement to say it has transformed the way in which she can live her life and affected every aspect of it. I thought her 30 things were so powerful because they covered a description of what she experiences. And I know everybody's experience is different, but I think hey Andrea, I think that's part of the point, is understanding everybody's experience and that they are different. Thanks, Nancy. And that they're different. Another important thing she did was tell us as friends and supporters what we can do to help someone who has migraines and headache issues. I'll wave back at you. And lastly, what we can do to help the issue in general. And I've taken a few excerpts out of the 30 things, but I would ask you to please go to biggreenpen.com, read the whole 30 things, and use this month, Migraine Awareness Month, Migraine and Headache Awareness Month of June, if you're on social media, to share it with a hashtag MHAM, and to just use these 30 things to help inform your experience as if you are suffering from migraines, to help you know you're not alone. But if you have a family member or friend or acquaintance with migraines, hopefully this will help you provide support to them. Therefore, I'm reading a little bit instead of just talking. Barbara's diagnosis, and let me just back up and say Barbara has been a friend. I met because she was executive director of Lighthouse of the Big Bend, which helps people with visual impairments. And my mother-in-law was a client and a former board member. And over the years, we definitely became friends. And she is someone I treasure for so many reasons. She's such a consummate professional. She's such a wonderful human being. And she's just awesome. But anyway, her diagnosis is migraine without aura, chronic, meaning daily. She went on to say, being so sick every single day is one of the hardest things I've ever endured. And I would add, with my father-in-law living with us, it's not a headache thing, but he has had chronic pain for, I think, 20 years. And since he's been living with us for 2 years, I see, hey Tammy, every single day how it affects quality of life. And I try to put myself in his shoes, but it's a hard thing to do, but it's important to try to understand. I remember when he stopped being able to sit through dance recitals, which he's been to a lot of with so many grandchildren, but he just couldn't do it anymore. And, it affects the ability to be a part of your family's life. Barbara says, the most frustrating part about having a migraine attack is not being able to make my brain work. It interferes with everything I try to do on a practical level, but also my identity is tied to my intelligence and creativity, which are often inaccessible. Hi, Amy. Thank you for joining. That really, really struck me because I've seen Barbara's creativity, and I can only imagine how she must feel cut off when she can't access that. And she can't share that gift with the world because she has so much to share. As far as what happens when she tries to explain her experience to others, she said, when I tell someone I have migraine, the response is usually crickets. Crickets and the awkward silence. Most folks don't seem to know what to say. She goes on to say, I get angry when people say, you need to do better at getting a handle on this. She said, I like it when people say words of understanding and empathy or sympathy. Even you poor thing is better than silence. I realize other migraine sufferers may feel differently. They may not like you poor thing, but in my experience, if I'm at a loss for words, I just say, I have no idea how to respond to you, but I want you to know it matters that you're experiencing this. And I think that's her point, is to not ignore it or pretend like it's not an issue, because it is something that interweaves every moment of her life and infuses every moment of her life when she is having an attack. Barbara says, Migraine and Headache Awareness Month is important to me because maybe awareness will bring funding, which will bring a cure. I really hope so, and I'm hoping that by sharing this blog and sharing her words, I'm really just the messenger that will make a small dent in that and progress toward funding. To follow along on social media during Migraine and Headache Awareness Month, you can use the hashtag MHAM or the hashtag Migraine Awareness Month. And there are, like I said, her complete 30 things is on my blog and a few other resources you can visit. I think the most critical, again, 3 things are A, trying to understand what, hey Greg, what the am I sideways? I had direct message Greg for technical assistance. So, because he's like a Facebook Live pro and a broadcasting pro and an awesome person. Anyway, try to understand what they're experiencing. And the way to do that is by asking them. If they feel like talking about it and describing it, yay, that's awesome that I'm not sideways. Try to understand what they're going through. And secondly is ask them what you can do for them. One of the things Barbara said is bring me a cool cloth. Such a simple action that anybody around her can take and something that brings relief. And lastly, do what you can to raise awareness and to help generate funding for research. I realize there are so many causes out there, and I know I talk about causes all the time, and I'm always encouraging people to give to causes, but this is one that impacts so many people. And I had a supervisor who was also a friend who had migraines and headache, and I saw how it impacted her work, and it never happens at a convenient time. She has 3 kids. Of course, your life when you have 3 kids and a full-time job never has a good day to have to be out of commission totally. So try to understand what they're going through and try to do your little part to provide support in whatever way you can. Again, big green pen. Tammy says, amen on those simple actions. Feel free, if you have some simple actions that have worked for you, to share those in the comments. And again, thank you all so much for... Oh, Tammy said her migraines always hit on Mondays, and her boss back then always thought she's looking for a long weekend. Hey, Nicolette. I have another friend, slight side note, whose spouse is dealing with an invisible illness, and it's a challenge to explain these types of things to your workplace because it may not be as obvious as some more commonplace diagnoses. So I think that's a whole area that, as far as human resources and responding to people's issues they face as far as absenteeism and family support, is a whole other issue that probably is going to need to be dealt with as awareness gets raised. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll talk to you next Monday.